Hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. Thank you so much for watching. We have another video that I'm excited about because I love fermented hot pepper sauce. And that's what we're going to do. Now, there is another video out there. This is going to be another method of fermenting hot peppers and a slightly different recipe. We're also possibly going to add some Poblano peppers and some banana peppers. And interestingly enough, these banana peppers are starting to turn their color. Most of the time you see your banana peppers like this color. Well, I wasn't sure what color they turned when they ripened, but this is the color that they turned, kind of a reddish orange. Does it continue to go red? I don't know. Tell me in the comments below. These are actually from a friend's garden, and we've had them a little while, but we got to get them used. And so now, if you saw the first video, you know what happened. If you didn't see the first video, I will put a link on the end of this video to the first video on fermenting pepper sauce, but we will not be using the infuser. That was a little bit of a disaster. So yeah, I'm gonna set this aside, removing all temptation of using that thing because we don't want to have an explosion of hot peppers everywhere. But yeah, so in the last video, we actually ground up the hot peppers. I used the infuser. It was a mess. I had stuff everywhere. Yeah, big mess. Don't do that. I just used the infuser in the bowl and it was crazy. But yeah, so this time we're going to be fermenting whole peppers. And I have a quart jar here and I'm hoping to fill 1 quart jar, though I do have enough for enough of the brine water, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. I do have enough brine to do 2 bottles if we have enough. I don't think we will. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we will do a smaller jar if one of these gets filled up. There's a lot of peppers here. This is what I've been harvesting over the past. I mean, look at that. This is the which one is this? This is Dragon Cayenne. Look at all those Dragon Cayenne and Thai hots. Not as many Thai hots this time. I'm a little surprised. Normally the Thai hots are the real good producer. We've got Tabasco. We've got Hungarian Black. We've got purple jalapeno. We've got Rezha. I said Tabasco. I got another. Oh, there's some jalapenos. I got a couple of Fatalis, though my Fatali plant I think is probably coming to the end of its life. It's 2 years old, and it's done very well. It is a little crowded in the grow bag where it's located, and we have new Fatali plants coming. So I am very excited about that. We have a whole bunch. In fact, the last video, you might, if you watch some of my videos, you might remember that behind me, I had seedlings for all my pepper plants. Well, they're out. They are out yonder. Good portion of them are either in the ground or in grow bags. This very day, I'm hoping to get planted out even more. We'll see how far I get today after recording the video. I do have, we are going to do garlic. I'm going to do more garlic than I did in the last one. In fact, these are from the garden. These are very puny. That was the whole garlic that grew last time. Terrible. We had a rough year in the garden, but the thing is, this year was more of an educational thing because we are learning what this new garden will do. We bought this property almost a year ago. We built our beds from scratch. Follow along on the Facebook page and Instagram. Okay, so here, this is end of November that this is coming out. And here, beginning in November, now if you're following the Facebook or Instagram page, you will have seen a couple of these posts already. But I've decided to go back and put some of my history into the Facebook page and the Instagram page as to where all this started and what happened and you know, just the past. I think it's so important to see where we came from. We lived in a small apartment, and we made the best we could do. I know that Jess Sowards over at Roots and Refuge, she always says, turn your waiting room into a classroom. And we were in a waiting room. We had no space in that apartment. And so I was growing indoor plants in the first one. The second one was a little bigger, but it was funny because we had this, I don't know, 14-foot long patio. I started out under the steps that were around the corner, and you'll see in the posts coming up in November where this all started and what got me excited. And back then I was watching Roots and Refuge and Garden Answer and the Millennial Gardener and so many of the others. In fact, if you want to see a list of the channels I watch regularly on my YouTube channel, you can see who my subscriptions are at this point. And I watch a lot of those pretty religiously. A few of those I only watch select videos from that kind of interest me. But here's the thing. There are things to learn. Maybe not every video, but you start going through and you pick up little things here and there. And it just excites me. It gets me so excited to be having so much success in the garden. If you want to see what the garden looks like, we have garden tours every month for the past few months. I think we started in April or May, I can't remember. But I've been doing garden tours, either 2 or 3 parts of the whole garden. We've been converting our whole property into gardening. And the previous owner was also a gardener, so he had trees, fruit trees and berry patches and date palms. And oh my goodness, it's just a blessing of a place to have found. When Mrs. Bowtie and I walked in to this house, in fact, just right over there, when we first walked into this house, I'm not sure we breathed for at least 5 minutes because we were just in awe of what God had brought us and where God had taken us. And everything kind of just went from there, and we ended up here, and it was a fantastic thing. It's just been wonderful. It has been just amazing. So anyway, I do have the curtains closed. There is nothing in the seedling shelves today. Well, there are 2 dead seedling plants, pepper seedlings that died a young life. So moment of silence for the 2 dead seedlings. Okay, so we're back now, and we're gonna get started on the ingredients here and what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna get a few more supplies, and let's make this. It's gonna be an easy recipe though. So fermenting peppers is good stuff. It's very healthy for you. Gut health, just general health overall. Fermentation is a phenomenal tool to have that is so very easy that anyone who wishes to be healthy should be practicing it. So, okay, let's get some supplies together. Yep, I have a few more supplies to get together, and we're gonna get started with this video. So here we go. I was just talking about the infuser, which is gone. It's not even sitting out here anymore. I don't know if you can see all the little spots on this piece of paper. That was part of the mess. I found that. I got another piece of paper out to make notes on this recipe. The last recipe was good. It was a good recipe. We had jalapeno, Fatali, Thai hot, Tabasco, dragon Cayenne, Rezha, and Hungarian Black in it. And seems like we were missing something. Oh, we didn't have any no, we did have jalapeno in it. Seems like there was something missing from it. I can't remember, but it didn't really seem to adversely affect the flavor. And I've got plenty of it. We're actually going to mix up some because I think I gave bad information last time as far as how much white vinegar to mix with your mash. And so we're going to cover that here. I've been playing with that since then, and I think I have a better idea now. So anyway, bowls, knives, stuff, just things you need. I have a scale because I want to figure out how much of this we're going to have of each particular kind of pepper. I'm really just experimenting these days, just trying to figure out what kind of things we have. But I do have the the fermentation kit that I talked about in the last video, our handy dandy compost bin. It's good to have one of these if you're a gardener because you can collect stuff in here, and there is stuff. Look, there's banana peels in here now, which I'll be taking it all out before we're done. But anyway, so I'm going to just get into this right away. The very first thing, well, actually, yes, you're going to have to watch me eat a couple of hot peppers. And I need to find out how spicy these are. We got these Poblanos from a friend, and she does a wonderful job gardening. And I wanted to just see how hot these things are. Now I have a bite here without seed. I don't expect there to be much, if any, heat. Yeah. Okay, so now I'll get a bite with the seed. Yeah. There's a little bit in the seed. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's actually pretty nice. Okay, that's pretty good. I do like the heat. Yeah, we might add. Okay. Ooh, there's some nice heat in there. So that tells me this is going to be a pretty decent round of Poblanos. Now, when you do Poblanos, like you stuff Poblanos, you cut out the seeds. That's the hot part normally. And you open it up, and by the time you bake it, it actually kills the levels of capsaicin in it. And it's not hot. It's certainly not vein popping hot. That's the truth. But it's got a little spice to it. It's got enough to be a part of my recipe today. And this is all about trying new things, and I encourage you to try new things. This is a neat thing to try. You get to experiment with stuff and see what this is like. Now these banana peppers, we got some banana peppers from this same friend recently, and they had a little spice. We actually did some pickled. Pickled. Sorry, I had to think there for a second. We pickled them, or she did. I think she pickled them, and they were really good. Oh my goodness, they were good. And so we've been experimenting with pickling, and she kind of followed suit, and she started experimenting with pickling, and she apparently has an orchard of banana peppers because she has tons of these, and she's given us a lot of them. I'm going to give this thing a little bit of a try. Wow, okay, so there's very little seed up in there. I'm going to try without much seed. And I still have that Poblano in my mouth. Wow, that's a good flavor. When we finally grow ourselves some banana peppers, I might have to let some of these ripen and see how they taste on the vine. Now, the thing about peppers, the longer you leave it on the vine, the hotter it gets. More capsaicin is in it. Okay, this one actually has some seeds in it. Whoop! Well, there fell some of the seeds. Oh yeah, there's a little heat in there. Not a lot. About the same as the Poblano. Very mild, like you would expect from a banana pepper. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and include these. I think we're gonna do this, which means we might more than fill a quart jar. Wouldn't that be cool? So yeah, I'm excited because I want to have enough to give out to friends. And with this many of these Dragon Cayenne, and we got Serano, which we did. Oh, is Serano? Serano, that was the one we're missing on the last bunch. We got Serano, we got a little bit of jalapeno, not a whole lot. But we do have Thai hot. Now remember, Thai hot are like 300,000 on the Scoville scale. They're pretty hot. Fatali, I only have 3 small ones, but I left them on the vine, so they'd be nice and hot, and they are about 350,000. That's my hottest pepper right now. We are growing a couple of hotter ones. We're growing some Scotch bonnet out there, and we're growing some peri out there, and those are supposed to be fairly hot, if I remember correctly. I know Oh, Chili Chump. Chili Chump introduced us to the peri, and let me tell you something. We got the flavor. We got a little sample sauce of the peri, and oh, it was so good. And then we have Mr. and Mrs. Scotch is here that does Jamaican food with the Scotch bonnet pepper. That's where the Jamaican heat comes from. And boy, that was really good too. We've eaten the Jamaican heat before, and we were reminded how good it was. And so I planted a bunch of seeds out, and we're gonna do Scotch bonnet as well this year. So that's gonna be that's an exciting addition to the garden for our hot peppers. We are late. I know this is late in the year. We planted those seeds on July, I want to say 22nd, something like that, of this year. That was the first time we successfully planted seeds for peppers. I killed over 200 seedlings. Some of them germinated, most of them didn't. It was just a bad year, bad spring. Of course, we didn't have good beds either, so may not have done anything. We did get a couple from that first round, but I have made a low tunnel, so hopefully we can overwinter. We are in the panhandle of Florida in Destin, and so we don't get the cold winters that some of you get, and so this past year I overwintered several of my pepper plants, and they've thrived. My Thai hot plant, I know I've mentioned this before if you watch my videos, bear with me, but the Thai hot plant never stopped producing. It always had dozens of Thai hot peppers on it. Oh, it was beyond amazing. And I wish I could have gotten more for this mix because it's a hot pepper, adds a lot of heat. I love heat. I love me some heat. That's the good stuff. But anyway, let's get moving here. I'm going to go ahead and start with some of these Poblanos. And I think, I didn't have a lot of heat in the tail. I don't think I'm gonna include a lot of the tail, only because I have the banana peppers also, and they're kind of the same situation. I don't want to add too much of the non-heat stuff. And that actually does have a little heat. Okay. Woo! What did I just bite? Oh my goodness, I bit some of the white stuff. That's where the heat is actually in this white area, not in the seeds itself. It's in the white area around the seeds, and it gets carried into whoa! Okay. I'm gonna stay with that. We're gonna use the Poblanos. Oh, now that was nice. Sweet. Okay. Woo. Put that away. Oh, you know what? I'm using bare hands, and I am a face toucher. If you watch my videos, I watch my videos sometimes, and I'm amazed at how much I touch my face. Though when I'm doing stuff like this, believe me, I know how much I touch my face, and I've got to break that habit. Okay, that was a Poblano. Oh my goodness. Alyssa, good job. That had a little heat to it. Okay, I'm going to use more of this than I thought. So here we go. I'm going to just be cutting up these Poblano. Oh. Now, in the last thing, we actually we used the blender to blend up the mash before the fermentation. Yeah, now I have to talk with that hot stuff in my mouth because I'm committed now and I really don't want to turn off the camera. And I'm an idiot. Okay. Bowtie Dave said he's an idiot. You've heard it here first. It'll subside. It'll subside. So this time what we're doing differently, we're actually going to be fermenting these, not whole, but I don't have to cut them up nearly as much to do this kind of fermentation. It is the same process, but now I do have some seeds here that are a little brown. And I'm going to try to exclude as much of those as possible, but I do want to include this white stuff because I do love the heat. I do love me some heat. The stems coming out, the leaves at the top are coming out, of course. I do want to leave as much of that meat in the middle because that's heat, man. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, this is a pretty good one. Let me rip this apart. That one is pretty good. Probably should be wearing some safety glasses here. Remind me next time to wear safety glasses. I may have wished I had safety glasses before this is over. But basically, we're just cutting these up into pieces and bits. And we're going to be packing them into this ball jar, which is why I actually have enough to do 2 full quarts, because, I mean, that's a lot of empty pepper. I'm going to try to get most of these big ones broken down better. And we do have weights in here. If you saw my last video or one of the previous videos, we talked about using weights. The problem with the mash is you can't use the weights very well. And so I'm educating myself. We're getting there. We're getting smarter as we go along. It's one great thing about being a gardener is you get to exercise your brain a lot and you get smarter as you go. And I like that. I need as much help as I can because as a person who was diagnosed as adult ADHD, I have learned over the years that it's not a disability, and shame on anyone who tells you it is or treats you like it is. It is not a disability. ADHD, get this people, it's a superpower. And I have done things in my life with my ADHD, and one day I'm going to do a video on it. I think I promised that once or twice before. But ADHD is a superpower. No apologies about it. So if you are looking at an ADD diagnosis, know that you can figure it out and it does not have to affect your life in a negative way. Okay, soapbox done with. Let's get on here. You know, this is Bowtie Life. It's mostly about gardening. The key word is mostly. We have a little bit about just living with our brains, living with our health. I make no qualms about it. Everyone who watches me regularly knows that I'm a Christian and I love Jesus. And I am trying to follow in the footsteps of my daughter-in-law and express that more. And she has done an amazing job of expressing that and set an example for me. Isn't it wonderful that our kids can marry people that make you grow? And that girl is amazing. That woman is just amazing. She has taught me things about my faith that I've been wanting to learn. But anyway, another soapbox. Hey, soapboxes all over the place. All right, here we go, folks. Poblano. And what I do, and if you didn't watch the first video, what I do is I keep a record of how many grams of each type is in here. And did I do K on that recipe? Oh my goodness, that's funny. Hey, ADD brain. Anyway, I keep a track of how many grams of each type of pepper are in here so that I can kind of know. I like to know what's going on, and you know, when I get down to trying to repeat something, I haven't had anything noteworthy yet. I'll admit, I haven't really had anything too noteworthy just yet. So, whatever. One of these days I'm going to come up with, I know I'm looking forward to the peri. The peri is going to be an amazing addition when we get those growing. We're looking at 174 grams of Poblano. Yeah. So here we go. I am going to not bore you with all these details. of every single one of these. If you want to see the recipe of what was in here, I do post it on the Facebook and Instagram page, and so you can check it out on there. And come the end after I do this, all these cuttings on super fast speed, so you don't have to be bored with me lecturing on about soapboxes, because that's what I do. We will come down to the putting it all together, and I'll slow the video down so I can talk you through it. And also, I'm going to have, looky here, I have a new bottle. My last bottle is empty. I emptied it this morning, which is why I'm doing a video today. We're going to mix up some mash from the previous recipe, and I'll show you how I do that so that you can get an idea of what I do. There's a bunch of ways to do it. There's a bunch of great ways to do it. You know, with me, I just try the first thing. No, not the first thing. I looked around and said, oh, okay, I think I can do that. And I can't remember the fella's name that that I first saw this from. It was him and his sister, and I cannot remember the channel. I love their channel. They've been a little quiet lately because they're involved with other stuff. But they had a great video on fermenting pepper sauce with the mash. That was the last process I did, and I thought, oh, I can do that after watching them. Well, I wanted to do this one differently using the weights in here, and so yeah, here we go. Camera on full speed. Yeah. So on some of these peppers that I don't have very many of, like this Golden Cross, oh, excuse me, I've been nibbling, so I've got a little bit of a burping problem, and they're warm burps. But anyway, so some of these smaller peppers are peppers that I have smaller quantities in. I'm actually cutting up into smaller pieces so that hopefully the flavor will get spread out through the mixture well. I don't think it's going to be a crucial thing, especially like this Golden Cross. There's hardly anything in there. And this one here is actually a green one, and I'm not even sure I'm going to include it. No, I'm not going to include that one. It's a little bit weathered, but I just want to make sure that they are spread evenly throughout. If we do this, if we end up filling 2 bottles, I want to make sure that it has some in both bottles. Now the Fatali, the interesting thing about the heat in the Fatali that I did earlier, I only had like 3 or 4 small ones, but I've done a southern hot pepper sauce with that Fatali, and the heat from that, whew, it will permeate everything. It's very hot. The heat from the Thai hots, it will permeate everything. And so I'm not too worried about the heat not being there from it, because believe me, it will bring the heat. There is no doubt about it. And so anyway, just thought of that as I was going along here. Also thought about the fact that I should be using a cutting board here. It would make life so much easier, wouldn't it? These, and like these Thai hots, these are small. And so I'm just going to be dropping them. Probably should split them and at least open them up, maybe. Ooh, how'd I open that one? That's a nasty one. Yeah, I'm going to at least open these up to see the inside. That first one being evidence as to why, because I want to make sure they're not nasty in there. Like this one here, I'm probably pretty sure is not going to get included. Ew, yeah. Yeah, so that needs to go in ye old compost, like so. But anyway, I just wanted to slow down the camera for just a minute just to mention that. I just want to make sure there's enough bits and pieces of every one of these, especially the hot peppers and the flavorful peppers, that they will be carried throughout the mix. This is probably not going to be anything notable. Now the Poblano is a new note for me, and the banana pepper is a new note for me. Purple jalapeno might be a new note if there is more than just one. Purple cross might be a new note if there were more than just two. So not a lot of influence there. So that being said, let me speed up the camera and let you fly through this with the magic of Hollywood. That's a lot of peppers. Whew. Tell you what, that took a while. But I did think of a couple of things. Well, one thing in particular, as I was going along here. You know, as you're cutting these peppers up, I actually started cutting these dragon cayennes, just cutting the top off and sticking them in the bowl, and I realized that if let's say I cut the top off here. I just cut that top off. If this dragon cayenne happens to be sitting upright, it's going to become a trap for air. And this fermentation problem, this fermentation process is an anaerobic thing, which means no oxygen. So if you have air up in there, it's going to be a preventative for the fermentation to happen. And so you don't want that. So, you know, you could always try to make sure your pepper, well, that's the real trouble. So what you do is you slice it all the way open to where there is no trap at all. And then, like, here's another example. This curved one. So let's just go through this. And this is kind of what my brain does. It thinks about these things. You know, Jess over at Roots and Refuge, she likes to snap her peas. Well, this is the kind of thing I'm sitting here running through calculations. So I cut both ends off of this. Blam, blam. So you say, hey, you can't trap oxygen in that this way. But you see the curve shape? If this thing was sitting like this and it's curved this way, well, it's going to trap oxygen in there. So you really need to make sure that you're not leaving little traps in there for air for the fermentation process when you're doing this. This is a downside of doing doing this, making the mash after the fermentation is kind of how I see it. I don't know. Maybe someone's figured it out better than I have. 118 grams of 118 grams of, this is dragon cayenne. That's a lot. And this is a lot of pepper. Now, actually, before I pour this in there, all that being said, I did set a few of these, it was the Tabascos I started missing the slice on. And I want to make sure that things are sliced up. There was a couple of them I put in here thinking, oh, it won't matter. But then I got thinking about the little bubble that could form in there. So I'm just running my fingers through here. And fortunately, there weren't a ton of Tabascos. But now another thing is, people, if you do not like the super hot, you need to take the seeds out and the little white parts out, because that's where the heat is. That's actually in the white part of the pepper inside. This part in here on this inside. And it gets on the seeds as well, because the seeds grow out of that white head inside there. But anyway, if you love the heat, leave the seeds in. You can send that thing through the blender and blend it up really good, really fine, and it'll be wonderful. See, there's the tip of a Poblano. There's another tip. Make sure these things are done right. But so that heat, I personally love the heat. Now, I haven't got to the point where I've done, like, you know, Pepper X or Scorpions or what's the Carolina Reaper. Now, my son has tried a Carolina Reaper, and after his experience, I'm a little afraid of it. And one of these days, I'm going to have to get to it. But anyway, that's a lot of pepper. That is a lot of pepper. Wow, that looks great. I'm loving it, loving it. So let's get an idea of what the total is here. So 682 grams. Now my numbers may not add up to that, because this scale, it's a cheap scale, so we have to kind of give it a little bit of grace and know it's kind of in the ballpark. So, okay, so the one item that I'm putting in here that is not from our garden, hence the little produce bag, is some of this onion. I'm going to put a white onion in here, parts of a white onion in here, simply because that's what I had. I'm presuming it'll be good anyway. Mrs. Bowtie might advise me different if she were here to supervise me, but hey, if she's not here to supervise me, I get to choose. Right? All you guys that need all you spouses that need supervision out there, say amen. Put it in the comments below. So we're going to put in a passel of this onion. Yeah. I'm going to get a weight on this. I didn't get a weight on it last time. All right. In fact, I weighed all the peppers, but I didn't weigh the onion or the other stuff. That's 70. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. Let me peel some of this back. Yeah. So onion's a good thing that goes in fermented pepper sauce, right? I'm not a cook. And incidentally, folks, I am not a cook. I'm just a regular guy. In fact, I'm a handyman and a web developer. I've programmed a lot in my life. I've done a lot of things throughout my life, and even ran a marathon, but that does not make me a professional here. So be advised. You need to, you know, this is just what I'm doing. If you need more information, you need to do some research. I do not take responsibility here. Onion, white onion. I am just a YouTuber. Anybody can YouTube. Sorry, folks. I hope that doesn't shatter your aspirations or dreams or concept of what YouTube is. Ooh, there's a lot of bad cloves of garlic. These cloves of garlic are from the garden. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. And so we're going to use as much of these as we can. Ooh, these are little itty bitty things. We had a tough time with garlic this year. Now, in the last video, I talked about this little thing. It's a garlic peeler. Wonderful tool. You can get them on Amazon, pretty cheap for a couple bucks. You stick your clove of garlic in there. And out pops clean garlic that fast. It's awesome. I love our garlic peelers. We got a package of 2 of them, same exact color. Not much to them. Whoop! There goes a good clove of garlic. But you just stick them in there, and roll them back and forth on here, and out pops peeled cloves. Woo! That one ground that one away. That's funny. These are tiny, tiny cloves of garlic. So I'm literally pulling off the bottom of our garlic braid. Ooh, that's not even a good one. I did braid some of this garlic, and it did not look good. Like I said, we had a hard time with it. New garden, all that. Plus, there was a recall on the garlic that I ordered. And people over there at my supplier was nice enough to let me know and refund my money before it even got here. So I went ahead and planted it anyway just to see what would happen. And it was nothing good. Oh my goodness, yeah. It grew little, obviously, and unimpressive. Now there's a decent clove for what I grew. Easy. There's nothing in that. Let's see. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to go grab another clove of garlic, he says as he walks away with the scissors. I happen to know that Mrs. Bowtie will be happy that I am using up some of this bad stuff. I say bad, it's still good, it just didn't develop. There's nothing horribly wrong with it. It's not like it's poison. It just did not germinate very well. Look at that. Look at that. That one, yeah, that's clean. Okay. That one looks good. That's good. Okay. I'm going to stick that in there. Yeah, these things are great. BB size garlic cloves. All right, so yeah, that's a bit of garlic. Let's just go with that. There is no set recipe here. This is literally just what I had, folks. Literally just what I had laying around. And I don't think, I'm trying to take a more relaxed approach to all this. And you got to realize, you know, this is not a stressful thing. Have fun with this. Experiment. I am not a chef. I am not a dietitian. I happen to know that fermentation and stuff like this is healthy for you, but you really need to find out more yourself. There is so much about this that, that we can do and we can learn and have much better quality of life. By just some more information, and the information is out there. It is free, people. It is all over YouTube. Don't ever think that you can't figure something out, because if you've got YouTube and YouTube is free, you can do it. Okay, so now we got to fit all this in there. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're going to get as much as we can. So let's get to it. Now, I do want to pour this in here and mix it up some. And pour it back, maybe. Just kind of get these ingredients all mixed together better. Those onions aren't incorporated very well yet. Everything else is, though. Onions, there we go. That's better. Okay. So now the onions are incorporated. And I did a little tiny onion last time. That was from the garden. Again, I needed to get rid of something in the fridge. But so this stuff, we're just gonna kind of stuff in here. Now, folks, you want to get as much in here as possible. And you want to get as much air out as possible. So, as we go along here, you'll notice that I'm kind of packing it in, and I'm gonna need a second quart, a full second quart. I'm excited. Oh, that excites me to no end. Because that's not gonna fit. Now I'm pressing it in here pretty good, folks, okay? There needs to be about almost an inch of space in here, because what we pull out of this box here in just a second, you'll see. It's very cool. So there's a full bottle. And I'm gonna go get my brine. So this brine is highly filtered water, number one. So the water in here, you want to make sure that it is well filtered. If you're filtering it, get distilled. If you have distilled water, if you have a Berkey water filter, my fridge didn't close, so let me go get it. There should not be chlorine in your water. The chlorine will kill the process. So don't be just opening the faucet and filling up this jar with water, number one. Number two, this needs to be a brine solution. Now, a brine solution has a certain percentage of salt, and that is necessary for the fermentation process. Somewhere between 2 and I think it's 6% salt. And so what you do is you take your water, your good water, your pure water, you stick it on the stove, and you pour in, for every quart of water, you put in 3 tablespoons of not regular iodized salt. This is non-iodized pure salt. This is Himalayan pink salt. You can get all kinds of good salts that don't have iodine in them, and you need to find that. Incorporate it, sit it there on the stove, heat it up, and make sure that that salt is completely dissolved. And I'm noticing here, some of this salt doesn't look like it's completely dissolved, but I'm going to use this anyway. Hopefully it's going to be okay. Again, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a doctor. I am just a guy. I'm a handyman. So, yeah, we're going to just go with it. But now we do have this packer, which helps to pack things in. You see, everything's pretty full, right? That's looking pretty good. What we have in this kit, and there's no sponsorship here. This is the Mason Tops Complete Fermentation Kit, and it comes with these glass weights. And what the glass weight, and now this particular weight kit is for wide mouth mason jars. If you have regular mouth, you have to get a different kit. But this is for, and you notice, see, it's just the right size to go in there. What that's going to do is it's going to hold the contents under the brine, which is very cool because you don't want this stuff exposed to air. Now, in the last video, the one that we did with the mash, where we mashed it up before the fermentation process, what happened there is you couldn't do this because it was mash. It would just float up all over around the weight. This stuff will not do that because it's larger solid pieces. And so the weight will actually do a good job of holding everything down. Makes the process a little bit different. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pour the brine into here, make a mess, and you see it bubbling and all that. Now watch this. I'm going to put a bunch in. Hear that bubbling? There's a lot of bubbling going on there. Now, there's a lot of air in there. Now you can take a knife, you can take a chopstick. We have these stainless steel chopsticks. If you like eating with chopsticks, get yourself some stainless steel ones. We got a set of, I think, 10 of them off of Amazon. They're great, but you can take that and you can just poke it down in there and it will work even more air out of there. Just all the way around the sides. And see, that water is sinking way down. A lot of air in there. Yeah, definitely gonna need more water. So now I actually have a large piece of that Poblano sitting on top. That's gonna hold most of the small stuff in. I'm gonna pour more brine in here. And you wanna be sure that as much air is out of there as possible. Now, I've got seeds floating around in here. There might be little bits of pepper, and if you chopped them up too fine, there might be a little piece of pepper floating around that doesn't get pushed down by the weight. Now, don't panic. Woo, so that's a little much. Oops. So I'm gonna put this in a bowl here. We'll see what we can get out of here, because I think I got too much brine. You think? Okay. Now you notice the weight is holding everything underneath the surface of the liquid. Still didn't quite get it right. Put a little bit more brine in here. There we go. Okay, now there's only about a ½ inch of space on the top here, and that's where you want to be. You want as little oxygen as humanly possible down inside here. Now, I do see a couple of seeds in here. I'm going to be checking this. Don't shake this or anything, but I'm going to be taking off the lid and looking at this and seeing if it's got mold growing in there. And first things first, if you see a little mold, little fuzzy mold, do not panic. Don't throw everything out. It's normal. This is life. Everything around us has mold and mildew and stuff like that. So, in fact, this lactofermentation is a bacteria that's on all our food, or at least our organic food, and it's good for us. In fact, it gets down to the gut health, and you have more non-human cells in your body than you have human cells. And you know how I know that? You'd be dead if you didn't, because those non-human cells, the bacteria, the fungi, the virus, all those things make up this system that we call the human body. And so it's just part of that. And we have to maintain a diverse selection of that stuff. And that's very important, is the diversity of that mixture of cells. And so do not panic when you see a little mold. The key thing is open it up carefully and smell it. And when you smell it, does it smell rancid? If it smells rancid, and chances are it will not. I have been doing this a couple of years now, and I haven't had a single one go rancid yet. I have had a little fuzz of mold. Take a spoon, scoop it off, throw it, stick it down the disposal or in your compost or whatever. Move on. It's okay. It's not that bad. It's not the end of the world. Mold is life. I get the dog vomit slime mold in the garden. And you know what that means? It means my garden's healthy. So this is a fermentation top that comes in this complete fermentation kit. Has a little nipple in here, and there's a hole in the top here. Just a little tiny hole in the rubber. And so what this does is, as this starts fermenting, which it will do, it's gonna do. You watch this thing for a few days, you're gonna start seeing bubbles coming out of it. As this thing starts fermenting, it's going to release gases out that little hole. And eventually there's not gonna be any oxygen left in there, which is very cool if you think about it. But this thing's gonna start bubbling and making the gas, whatever the gas is. Some scientists know what it is. I am not a scientist. I'm a handyman. I'm a web developer. I don't know all that sciencey stuff. I just know this stuff works. So there is my first mix. That is beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm not sticking this in the cabinet that I normally stick this stuff into. That's just crazy. Crazy talk, people. Just all there is to it. So I need to get me another jar here real quick. So bear with me as I run into the other room. And you'll notice I'm not even using these little lids, okay, the little discs. I'm not using these. Those we don't need for this process. I'm just using the ring and a mason jar. And whatever size mason jar you get is fine, okay? If you're using this fermentation kit that fits all wide mouth mason jars, you need to make sure they're wide mouth, but you can get these at Walmart, people. You can get them at, heck, I can get them at My Ace Hardware. You get them at Tractor Supply. You get them all kinds of places. So don't panic thinking you've got to go out and buy something scientifically perfect. This is not, well, it is scientifically perfect because mason jars are a good product. I will say this, someone gave us some jars recently that were not mason jars, actually they say made in China. We will not be canning in those jars because I don't think they are good for canning, because the jars that you can with, those can take the heat. Those can take temperatures from cold all the way up to room temperature, all the way up to, you know, whatever temperature you're canning at. And you need to make sure that it doesn't explode and get glass everywhere. So, okay, so that one you can see is 2/3 full. I'm happy with that. I'm going to pull out another weight and stick it down in here. Now, this one's going to be a little trickier because I almost guarantee you stuff is going to float up on the side here. So, I'm not sure what to do about that. This is the first time I've done this with the hot pepper, so I'm going to position that over there a little bit, and I'm going to start pouring this in. Oh, I'm going to have to pull it out because I've got to get the air out. Oh, that actually works pretty good. There's a random piece in there, but I think that works pretty good. Let's do that. Get out. Oh, you know what? I see one of those Tabascos that I didn't cut in half. There we go. Okay. So you take that chopstick. I'm just running around the side, jarring things around, making sure there's a little motion in there to get all that. Actually, no, yeah, it's sunk a lot. Wow. That is something else. Now, I wonder if I can dig up a nice big piece of Poblano to put on the top here. I see one down here. I see a couple of pieces of Poblano. If I can get bigger pieces on top to hold little things down along these edges, maybe I can get this to work better. At least one side. Here's a number of, oh, there's a nice big banana pepper. Looky there. Nice. Okay, so I've been watching people do this, and the smart people like Melissa K. Norris, they remember to hold out a piece of a onion or a piece of a bell pepper or maybe a lettuce leaf and put it on top so that it holds everything under the solution. I'm not that smart. I'm not a professional dietitian. I'm a web developer and a handyman. I don't know these things. I'm still learning, people. I haven't a clue. Making sure that brine is well incorporated before I pour a little more in here. I think we're gonna be good here now. I'm making a mess everywhere. Yeah, I am not a clean person. Clean cooking person. Don't tell Mrs. Bowtie though, because I always clean up after her. And I make out like I'm so nice and neat. And if she ever knew it was any different, she might be devastated. I'm kidding, of course. Mrs. Bowtie will be seeing this video. Okay. We get out another fermentation lid. It goes in the ring. Oh, I want to wipe this down a little bit. I had a, oh, what's that? Oh, is it noon already? Woo! As I said, folks, I am ADHD. I have to set an alarm to remember to eat lunch. It's a sad state of affairs, but it's true. I get so distracted by things. Okay, so I mean the wiping off, I don't know that it's necessary. I am going to rinse off the outside of both of these jars when I'm done. But there we go. Another jar, another pretty jar of fermenting pepper sauce. I'm going to end up putting those on a shelf. I got a shelf right there that's beautiful for it. Okay. Whew. That was a lot, people. I'm a little overwhelmed right now, but we got one more thing to do. One more thing to do. One more. Haha. So I'm going to pause the camera, go get some of this cleared off, and get down to making the final product with the mash. And I'm going to show you what I do. And so yeah, hang on. I know you'll see it in a split second. It's going to take me about 5 minutes. Okay, so here we are. There is one last thing I need to say about these. Be sure to label them. Put either today's date or the date you want to check them. These are going to sit for at least a month. Some people say 2 weeks. I have left them as long as 3 months. These do not, I repeat, these do not go in the fridge. They need to go on a shelf somewhere where you're not going to touch them, but you can still be reminded to check them because you want to be able to look at them and make sure they look all right. Don't shake them. Do not shake them. Want to make sure they look all right. Open it up, set it on the table, open up gently, look in, see if there's any mold developing. If there is, take a spoon, scrape it off. Do not panic. Do not throw it away. It's okay. So now you get to find out the date I'm recording this because I'm putting today's date on here. So I know that 30 days from that date is when I need to check these things. So I had to redo the tape on that one because I wrote the wrong year. I wrote 2020. It's 2022, people. ADD. Sometimes you just got to learn to laugh at it. Anyway, so those are 2 things of beauty right there. I'm going to have to figure out what to do with because they are just too beautiful to stick in a cabinet where I normally put them. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is the last thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to talk about making your final product with the mash. Now, these jars are going to be fermented. When I am satisfied with the ferment and the smell and the flavor and everything, I will be sticking it in a blender, blending it up to just the finest pulp I can get. I may end up using the infuser if I can't get the seeds to disappear quite right, but I will do it in a jar where it won't splatter everywhere like last time, or it won't explode. But somehow I'm going to get these things into a very fine mash. I've heard people talk about filtering these things. I love the little chunky stuff in the pepper sauce. I love the bulk of it. It's just so awesome. And so what I'm going to make here is the mash. Here's my mash from and remember the last video, this is the jar, the very jar that I put it in. And now you notice it doesn't have the fermentation lid anymore. When it's done fermenting after anywhere between 2 weeks and 3 months, when it's done fermenting, you take that lid off, you put a regular lid in there, stick it in the fridge. In the fridge, it actually doesn't stop the fermentation, but it slows it way down. And so this is not fermented very much, though. I'll bet it has a little bit. Okay, it probably has. No big deal. It's supposed to. It's fermentation, people. This I actually got at Hobby Lobby, no sponsorship or anything, but they have these bottles in different sizes. If you'll notice on the bottom when you get the sticker, they are food grade. So you can use these. You're not going to can in these or anything, but Hobby Lobby does have a lot of this stuff, and it's a good Christian company we like supporting. I'm friends with the manager the assistant manager over here at our store. Real nice fella. But basically, and funnel, very useful people. Nice little funnel. You can get a set of 4 of these in a bundle at Ace Hardware, different sizes. I bought a set that was all white and a set that's all gray. The gray ones go in my handyman stuff where it gets oil and stuff dumped in it. The white ones stay in the kitchen. That's just how we did it. You do it however you want to, but we're going to be dumping all of this in here very carefully. Notice I'm still wearing gloves. And I did inspect this first, make sure there was no mold growing. There was not. Of course, it's been in the fridge, so I wouldn't expect any mold in here. But the only key thing is this thing over here to your left, the distilled white vinegar. And you notice, see, this is pretty solid stuff. It doesn't go down in there very easily. So, chopstick, remember chopstick? Looky there, it just goes in. And it takes a few minutes to get it all in there. That's a lot, but boy, am I excited. I love this stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh. This is amazing. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be mixing in the distilled white vinegar, and that's the final ingredient that I'm putting in here. Now, this mash does have a little bit of garlic, a tiny bit of onion, nowhere near enough, and it has a lot of the same peppers we used today. In fact, it was this first sheet. Excuse me. It's a little hot. I can tell. It's got Hungarian Black. It's got Rezha, Dragon Cayenne, Tabasco, Thai Hot, Fatali, and Jalapeno in it. And I've already eaten half of it. It was good. It was very good. However, when I filled the bottle, in fact, I have my smaller bottle, my favorite bottle, and this is my new bottle. I'm going to try this new bottle. Just got this, so I want to see how it works. But I said I filled it up so tall. I said I'm going to add about 2 or 3 tablespoons in here. Oh my goodness, that was underdone. And the thing about the vinegar is the recipes vary a lot from product to product, but the distilled vinegar that you put in there, some places it's like 75% distilled vinegar. If you look at the recipe, you'll see distilled vinegar comes at the top, or whatever it is at the top. I forget what it is with Tabasco sauce, but it's pretty high up there. So anyway, I started playing with it, and I actually think I had about 50-50, 50% mash, 50% vinegar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to eye this. I am literally going to just eye this. And I'm not going to put quite 50% in. I'm going to put it up to about there. Maybe 40%, 60-40. And I'm going to see what it looks like. Therein lies the key. What I just said, see what it looks like. Because there is no right and wrong. If you like it a little more chunky, then by all means, have it a little more chunky. Make it the way you like it. I do like it a consistency that I can pour it out of the bottle with a good mix of chunks and liquid into a teaspoon that I put into my scrambled eggs every single morning. I get a little bit of this every single morning. Now this new batch here, we're gonna have some to give away, and I'm very excited about that. But now, here comes the magic, folks. So you see there's distilled vinegar and the mash, okay? Here comes the magic, and let's see if it doesn't explode on me. Oh, that looks so right. So I've got about a 40-60 mix in there. And it's not exploding out the top, though it's almost about to. This is not the greatest bottle. I may end up pouring it back in my favorite bottle anyway. But it looks really good. There's no settling of major chunk. You can see there's chunks in there. I love the chunks. That's actually very nice. So 40% distilled vinegar, 60% mash. I may end up adding a little bit more if it doesn't come out just right. That's going to depend on my first breakfast. tomorrow morning with it. So anyway, folks, there you have it. It's simple. Don't be afraid of it. It's fun. I love the hot stuff. This has got the seeds in it, the chunks and everything else. If you want to filter it out, filter it out. Do it the way you want it. It's okay. There's no right or wrong there. It's just amazing because you know you made it. This was completely grown in our garden right here. These were completely grown in our garden except the white onion. I know. I put about half a white onion in there. But that was mostly grown in the garden. Oh, you know what? Back up. The Poblano and the banana peppers came from a friend. But we know we like her garden. So anyway, there you go. I hope it maybe gives you a little inspiration to try it. It's not nothing I did here was complicated. Just took a little work, mostly cutting up those peppers. But took a little bit of work. This fermentation process is not a scary thing. It's fun to try, fun to play with. Mold. What did I say about the mold? Don't panic. Don't throw everything away. Clean off the mold. First smell it. If it smells rancid, then you might have a problem. I have never smelled rancid, so I don't know. I don't know what the chances of that are. This stuff just stays on the shelf. Now, after it's at this point, I do keep this in the fridge. So they say you can actually leave this out, and I've seen people leave it out, but they say you can just leave this out on the counter and use it as you wish. That right there is going to take me a while to go through. Hopefully that'll be about a month's worth of use because I would like to have one of these new ones ready to go before I do that, because I'm going to leave one of these for a very, very long time and leave one of these for about a month from now when I need more, and we'll go from there. So anyway, I appreciate you sticking around this long. We're trying to build our community here at Bowtie Life, and I would appreciate it if you put a thumbs up on the video. Please ask any questions in the comments below. I still go through the comments. I still get all the notifications. I do that personally. If you have any kudos, if you have any friends that might be interested in this, share the video. The more people we can get to watch this, the more it helps. Another thing you can do, the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. That helps our channel and helps this video. Subscribe to the channel if you would, please. If you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. We are trying to get our custom URL. We need a few more subscribers, and as soon as we have enough subscribers, we'll have a custom URL. And then, of course, share, comment. This is all so helpful. It's just a gift from you to me. If you appreciate what the content here is, if you liked it, please, how about a subscribe back or something. Keep an eye out for more videos. Keep an eye out on Facebook for some of those Humble Beginnings posts from the past couple years, over 2 years. Some of them are 2 years and I want to say 2.5 years old that never were on Bowtie Life. They were on my personal stuff that I shared with my friends, but it's very apropos. I think it's very beneficial to post that stuff because you can see where I came from and see what happened and what made me get to this point. Well, at least some of what made me get to this point as far as gardening. And so again, appreciate you coming, watching, sticking through. And as always, have a blessed day.